Welcome to All Things Moore County, Moore County's weekly radio show highlighting the many facets of the Sandhills. That includes real estate, lifestyle, community and neighborhoods. And now, from 4 Properties, here's your host, Bill Sahadi.
Good morning and welcome to the talk show, All Things Moore County. Dorothy, one of the best shows we've done in the past has involved today's guest. We've done a couple of shows in the past with the Encore Center.
Yes.
In downtown Southern Pines.
Yep.
They started in business, I think, back in 2019.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Right, and they have, for people who think they've heard of the Encore Center but haven't seen it, it's probably because they're reading in the paper or on social media all the best of award nominations and awards that they win. Mm-hmm. First for dance, first for music, best dance studio, best community performance arts group. And in the short period, which took into account COVID, mm-hmm. Encore has really upped their game, and you guys have sort of created something out of nothing. And to my left, I'm being joined by the company stage manager, Becky Podlogar, who is, I had the privilege to get to know about 2 years ago while she was doing an earlier production. And Becky, you've been with Encore Center now since the beginning?
Yes, I've started with them the day we opened, so yes.
You know, she has a reputation, don't you?
Oh, really?
Her reputation is she's the chief cop in police, and when she barks, you jump.
That is true. I can see how that
And
might
she runs a very tight ship with a very big heart, and that comes through. And you brought with you a couple of guests because of an upcoming production, October the 21st through October the 30th.
Yes.
The Hounds of the Baskervilles. How many? What I don't even know. I've lost count. What production this is for you all?
Oh my goodness, I've lost count as well.
Right.
We do 6 main stage shows a year and also 3 kids camps. So about 9 shows a year, and this is our 4th season. So, yeah.
It's very intensive.
Yes.
The rehearsals are way more intensive than people who would come in just to see the shows would have any idea about.
Yes.
It's a round-the-clock job. It's a full-time commitment. Mm-hmm. The Langfords, who own the Encore Center, have been great people, great partners for you. Mm-hmm. It's been a love affair that is gathering steam each season. And tell us a little bit about the upcoming event, because tickets are on sale now, and the show starts Friday the 21st. Mm-hmm. It runs 2 consecutive weekends?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So Sherlock Holmes and the Hound of the Baskervilles is our current production. We've been rehearsing for a couple weeks now.
Yep.
And yes, tickets are on sale. The show is Friday night, the 21st at 7:30, on Saturday at 2 and 7:30, and Sunday at 2. And then same thing the following weekend.
How did you pick this particular show for this particular time frame?
Well, each year to select our shows, we make a list of some possibilities, right. And then the board meets and reads all those plays or musicals, and then decides what would be best for our space and for what's going on in the year and those kind of things. So they make those decisions, and this has been absolutely a fun show to work on. We do have a guest director that came in from Raleigh, who's Gus Allen. He couldn't be with us today.
Okay.
And he is just doing a fantastic job. He is a huge Sherlock Holmes fan, and it shows. He is so excitable, and just that's going to come through on the stage when you come see the show and see our actors put on this production that Gus has formed for us.
I remember how exhausting the process was when you did Love Letters. It was only one weekend.
Yes.
And I needed to check into a hospital just to recuperate. I was physically and mentally exhausted for days. I mean, I'd never done it before. For days, I just felt drained. What is it about the intensity of the acting process that leaves you that way after you put so much into it?
Right, and I think that's just it. We do at the Encore Center put everything into it. Our whole heart and soul comes in to the whole process,
Yeah.
and the process is a long and grueling process, but it's all worth it in the end when that audience comes and sees this and is immersed in just for even those 2 hours to be out of everything else that's happening in the world and just be in this moment of whatever the story is. This one is cool because it's a, suspense. There's intense moments. There's funny moments. There's, all different kinds of things. And most people know Sherlock Holmes and you know what the story is probably going to end up. But getting to that point, I think you're going to have some surprises with this one.
Tell me about the Encore Center. Describe the theater, the setting. What people who have not seen it, what are they going to find at the Encore Center and its location?
Sure. So we're located in downtown Southern Pines in what was formerly the Powell Funeral Home. So we have converted the chapel into a black box theater. And so what that means is we have a very small, intimate space, and you're pretty much right there with the actors. And so you feel like you're a part of the show when you're in our audience. And it's just magical to be in that moment and in that space when the actors are right there so close to you, and you can really feel like you're part of something as you're sitting there watching this work.
Yeah. I want to introduce a couple of the actors who are here with us. To your left, Colin Conway, playing Sherlock Holmes. You you were on the Encore stage in Bye Bye Birdie, and you're more than happy to take on this iconic role. Sherlock Holmes is a very well-identified character. That might put a little bit of extra pressure on you to deliver. I just wanted to throw that out there. So how do you handle that?
Well, Sherlock, thanks to being so iconic, actually has a little bit of flexibility with how you might interpret it, because there have been so many different renditions of the character.
Right.
If you usually take a look back, the person who codified the role more or less was Basil Rathbone.
That's right.
So that's usually who you'd look for to emulate. And I'd say that's definitely who I looked for the most part here. I'd say the most curious thing about portraying Sherlock is that he is so reserved, so in control, and often very reticent. He's not going to disclose just how in control he is, right? That his emotional range can often appear very limited, which is difficult to handle on stage sometimes when you have to think about, okay, there's only so many options I can take.
Right.
When it comes to absorbing people's information and reacting to it, right? But you need to make every single one of them sort of a different flavor, a different color, make sure that you are doing everything you can within Sherlock's emotional range. Because he's a complex character, despite the fact that he might not always show every single emotion that he's feeling in the moment.
Tell me, The Hound of the Baskervilles. There are some storylines and life lessons in the play that you hope to portray to the audience. What are those life lessons that come out of it?
I think it is an interesting story of one, sometimes the arrogance of youth. It is a big learning experience for one character in particular who does not follow the advice of one Sherlock Holmes. In another sense, I think that there is a feeling of, I guess, feeling beholden to family history and sins of the father, and looking past that and moving past that. And I think that there is almost a sense of helplessness to the idea of this curse that's afflicted this family, right? And throughout the play, there is an active process to I think, break down this feeling of helplessness and give people back their agency by the end of it, and make them be able to move on past this horrible history that has afflicted this family.
I've got a couple of offsetting descriptions: justice and judgment, guilt and blame. I was going to say shame, but it's blame. Lies and deceit. Respect, isolation, and cunning and cleverness. Is that right? Yeah, I got that off Google. But it's a great visual.
Yeah.
I also want to say hi to Luke Taylor.
That's me.
And tell me about your role in the production.
So I play a number of roles.
Yep.
I play Jack Stapleton, and Selden, and
Sir Charles.
Sir Charles, that's right at the beginning.
So many roles you forgot.
Yeah. It's really fun though, playing a whole bunch of roles.
You're a musician.
Yes.
And
Yes.
You've done some pit performances in productions of Kiss Me Kate, Hairspray, Chicago,
Yep.
Thoroughly Modern Millie.
Yep.
You're an old soul.
Yep.
And
Those are my favorites.
and sound design for the production Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah, I studied music in college, and just went around doing a whole bunch of little gigs that I could, and a whole bunch of like school performances and stuff, and ended up landing here. And there was a center that was designed to do all the stuff that I love, so it's the first place I reached out to.
Great. And I want to introduce, finally, Charlynn Walker. And because of your background, she may be the most qualified person at the table to talk about the strength of local theater. I just have a feeling. You just returned here. You grew up in Moore County.
I did.
But you spent a lot of years performing in New York City.
Yes.
And teaching in the
Yes.
New York City public school system.
I did. Yes.
And that's crazy. You taught at the Classical Theater of Harlem. You worked as a teaching artist in New York City public schools. What brought you home, first of all?
Well, I'd been in New York for quite a while, and I'd already taken a career turn back into my love of performing arts, and when I got my degree in. And I have 2 kids.
Okay.
And they were going into high school and middle school, and I just wanted a change. Felt like it was time for a change because we lived in the city.
Where do you live in the city?
We lived in Queens.
Okay.
In East Elmhurst and Astoria.
I'm from Brooklyn originally.
Oh.
Yeah, don't
I've
hold
also
it.
lived in Brooklyn.
Bay Ridge?
No,
downtown?
I was in off of Claremont. I can't remember exactly.
Were you really?
Yeah.
So I don't pick up any accent?
No,
You do with me, though, don't you?
a little bit.
A little bit. Get me at about 5:30 this evening, and it becomes more pronounced as I get tired. How long were you in the city?
I was in the city for just over 20 years.
That's the center of the arts, arguably you could say. Now you're back in Moore County, and you've got a facility and a staff that the Encore Center is. That's pretty amazing, isn't it? It's so organic here.
It's unbelievable. I never expected to be able to be in a space like Encore,
Okay.
where not only are they, putting on these amazing productions,
Yep.
and they are also teaching youth, in the area and bringing in kids who don't have a lot of exposure to the arts within the schools. So it's really, really important to have places like Encore, and Encore does this so well.
Yeah. They have. We want to talk during the show about the staff that they have. It's really impressive. And I think a lot of people who are just finding out about the Encore Center for the first time, their jaw drops when they see the kind of talent. You are currently a music teacher at St. John Paul?
I am. I've been there for 4 years.
Okay.
And I teach pre-K through 8th grade, and it is a challenge every single day.
Right.
But it's a lot of joy that comes from that.
Is it true that the middle schoolers are the toughest of all?
Oh my goodness. Yes.
But without
I
question,
love you guys.
right?
I love you guys. But they are a different, they need more.
Yeah.
And so you really have to be on top of your game and give them what they need.
You take two third graders any day over a seventh grader, right?
Well, it depends on those third graders. So,
Oh.
you know, two of them, I don't know.
Is that right? So is this your first? You're playing the role of Lady Agatha.
I am.
Tell me about the role and your feeling about the production.
Lady Agatha is a very serious
Yeah.
woman, and she is friends with, or was friends with, Sir Charles. So she has a personal interest in finding out what happened. But she can't do it alone. So she calls in the experts to help her. But more like you were saying, this idea of isolation and history,
Yeah.
you would think she wouldn't get caught up in it, and she has.
Uh-huh.
And so she's one of those that needs that other head to help figure out what actually happened, because she wants the truth, but you know, there's mystery in that as well as maybe being part of the problem.
Okay. So my instinct tells me that you manufacture a lot of chemistry for the other actors who can work with you or off you. She flows pretty well, doesn't she?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Sound like I know what I'm talking about, right?
No,
But
she
that's
does.
just my instinct
No, she
talking.
does.
You have you have a great way about you.
Thank you.
You tie it all together. That's what years of experience can do, right? Because your perspective may be a little bit different.
I hope I'm able to to add to it and pull everyone. I try to be as open as possible and give everyone what they need. I know I'm pulling from them what I need, so
Right.
I hope I'm giving back. To
I
them.
sense a lot of good chemistry at the table. The event, the Hound of the Baskervilles, is going to start next Friday, October the 21st. It's going to run through the full weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Matinee on Sunday?
Yes.
And then the following weekend, same.
Yes.
So, 8 productions?
Yes.
Wow. Okay, 8 opportunities. We're going to come back in the next set. We want to talk about ticket information. We want to talk about some of the staff we've alluded to, some of the programs that the Encore Center offers. And are you teaching at the Encore Center too?
I am also teaching at the Encore Center.
Wow,
I'm
okay.
loving it.
So we're going to ask her for her autograph, I think. She's an MVP. We'll be right back. This is All Things Moore County. Okay. Welcome back to our second set of All Things Moore County. The Encore Center is our guest for the entire show. The Hound of the Baskervilles is being produced and will be shown October 21st through the 30th of October. There'll be 4 shows each weekend. We're privileged to have Becky and the cast with us today, or some of the cast with us today. Tell me about tickets and how people can obtain them.
Yes. So tickets are available on our website, www.encorecenter.net. You just go onto that website and click Purchase Theater Tickets, and it'll take you right to the ticketing site. Or you can call the box office at 910-725-0603 and leave a message there if no one answers, and we'll get back to you to get those ordered.
Back about 2 years ago, you guys were under COVID protocols in terms
Yes.
of how many people you could have in for one production. But
Yes.
today, where do we stand?
So now we're at 82 seats.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, we're doing much better. At one point, we were only allowed 25 at a time. So this is great. 82 is wonderful. So we're back at our full capacity.
And pricing on the tickets?
Yes. So the first 3 rows, I believe it is, they are $25 tickets, and then the rows after that are $17.50.
Just like New York City.
Oh yeah.
$25 for a ticket to a show and $18 for the 4th row back.
I'd have been in the theater every day if that was the price.
Did you go to the theater a lot when you were in New York?
I went to the theater, but it was still a special occasion. I mean, theater in New York is
Oh.
very expensive
Oh.
and very hard to.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I always question, I mean, it is such an expensive endeavor to put on these productions. And the ticket prices are so reasonable
Yes.
when you consider what you're getting.
Right.
I don't know how you keep the prices so.
Well, one of our goals when we started was to keep things affordable for families.
Yeah.
And so we really have tried to not raise our prices much to be able to keep, even though costs are going up, to try to keep everybody able to come. We are so family oriented. We want families to be able to come and share in these experiences together and make lifelong theater goers. So, we definitely work very hard to try to do that. But yes, it takes a lot to put on every production. So yeah, we rely on private donations and ticket sales to try to keep each show going. So
It seems like every time you all come on, the demographics keep changing. So you're always having an opportunity to speak to a different audience or a newer audience. Why is it so important that Southern Pines has local theater?
well, the downtown area is just growing so much, and there are just so many families and so many great activities every weekend. There's people downtown all the time. It's just great, and for us to be able to offer we offer in our studio dance, we offer kinder music for the babies, we offer even adult tap classes. So our classes range from babies to older adults. So it really is a place that anybody can come. Then we have voice lessons, we have instrument lessons, just anything, acting classes. And then we do our kids camps where we have our productions with our kids throughout the year. We have one coming up in the winter in January. And then in the summer, we do 3 production camps with kids. And this past summer, we had 30 kids in each camp, close to 30 kids in each camp. So
What age group?
yeah. So we do a teen camp in the summer that is 13 and up. And then we do 2 younger camps, which are 8 to 18.
Yeah. I was taken back when I first was introduced to the Encore Center by all the activity going on the separate side of the building. It's almost like it's a tale of two different businesses under one roof, right? Can you
Yes.
explain that?
Yes. So the one side is the studio, and then the theater is the nonprofit part of the business. So with theater side being the nonprofit, we are able to have the productions that we have, and apply for grants and those kind of things to try to help us with costs. The North Carolina Arts Council, Moore County Arts Council, has been gracious in helping us over the years with that.
Yeah. Your website details a very impressive staff. You have so many instructors,
Yes.
dance, music, acting. And I was taken back when I would meander into the other side of the building to watch these kids dancing or singing or working together where they're learning to cooperate with one another, or they needed each other. And that's how kids learn, right, by sharing.
Absolutely.
And to be able to offer that outside of the school system, maybe it's more intensive. And you wind up having, I won't call them graduates, but you have a daughter
Yes.
who was part of the Encore Center, and
Yes.
she is now, tell us where she is and what she's
Yes.
doing.
So Allison has taken dance and voice and acting and been in some shows at Encore, and then she graduated and she went off to college at Malloy University on Long Island, and she's studying musical theater. So she's doing a great job.
And she's living in Brooklyn.
And she is living in Brooklyn.
So she's taking the ferry. How is she getting back and forth?
The trains.
The trains, okay.
So 2 days a week she's on campus at Malloy on
Okay.
Long Island. So she takes the LRR out there. And then 3 days a week they have their studio in Manhattan. So she goes 3 days a week into Manhattan. So subway. She's learned all the trains.
And they think the cost of living here is high,
Yeah, no.
right? Isn't it crazy?
Yes, but I've been here for 3 years now, so I could see it. I could see.
You get used to it. You teach now at the center,
Yes.
and you teach the same age group that you do at St. John Paul.
I do.
Okay.
I do. I think my classes start at 5 and go up to 18. So yes.
So, for parents who are listening who may have a child that they think has an ability or a talent that they want to develop, what kind of costs are associated with some of the programs? How long are the classes?
So our classes, some of the classes are, for the littler ones, are half an hour to 45 minutes. The older kids are more an hour. And pricing wise, that's all on our website. You can check all that out on our website. The website does have both the studio information and the theater information. So that's www.encorecenter.net. And you can look at all the different classes. All the teachers are listed there for each music, dance, and theater. And it also tells you, like, for dance, what items you need to wear and those kind of things. And back to what you were saying about teaching kids different parts of life, I think that's one of the things at the center that really we show, is because they learn these things and then they can bring it over into the theater and do these productions. It's not all, everybody doesn't want to perform, but
that's right. There are other parts,
but there's other,
right.
Yes, there's other things that you can do with it.
That's right.
And even if it's not something that you want to do a lifelong of, like my daughter wants to, there are still so many lessons that can be learned just from doing the disciplines.
And you use the word discipline, and it requires discipline.
Absolutely.
Right, and preparation.
But I also want to say that it's for any and all children.
Right.
Absolutely.
So we are very inclusive, and we want that.
Right.
Of all children, whether you think your child is a superstar or you think your child has a massive amount of energy, we want all of them.
No names, but I will tell you, I have a friend. That's a true story. I have a friend who put her daughter in the Encore Center, I think about a year or so ago, and had been in a couple of productions. And I'm guessing she's an 8th grader now, and just rave reviews. What it did for her self-esteem, what it did to help promote when kids are that age and they have a dream. That's a dream. And you know what? They don't know about the numbers. They don't understand about competition. They have a dream. And they kind of live in their own little world, and they want to express, and they get an opportunity. And it's no different than sports. Kids didn't always have the arts the way we have it now, where if they didn't play a sport, they were sort of on the sidelines. But with the Encore Center and facilities like that, kids have a chance to express themselves and grow and learn.
My daughter, my daughter has been involved with 2 productions, and she's a freshman.
Is that right?
So is she a freshman? No, she's a sophomore, excuse me, sorry as well. She's a sophomore, but she's been involved with 2 productions here and classes. And even though we were in New York, I wouldn't have had the ability to put her in everything that she's been able to be a part of here.
Because of the cost?
Because of the cost,
and
because of the time, because of the distance.
Right.
So she's being down here is a blessing for her.
Right.
She has found another family within Encore that has nothing to do with me. Even though I'm there, has nothing to do with me.
Right.
So.
Colin, where'd you go to school?
So I am actually from California originally.
Okay.
So I went to school over in Orange County.
Okay.
So I attended Saddleback for a while there. So then I actually just moved here not too long ago.
Okay.
Actually moved out here with some family members. My father, my stepmother, my stepbrother, and his fiance.
Okay.
So I've been out here for just a little bit of time, and this is actually since joining up with Encore, that was my first on-stage production in 2 years' time.
Yeah.
So that's been a pretty wild turnaround on that, particularly since we went right from doing Bye Bye Birdie right into Hound of the Baskervilles.
Yeah. His voice. You probably could do voiceovers for commercials.
I've got my demo. Do you need it? Do you need it?
Your voice is like off the charts in terms of.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
You need a talent scout. Very distinctive, very good.
Thank you.
Luke, you went to App State.
Yep.
So you're a local.
Yeah.
Right?
I was born in Raleigh and been all around the state basically.
Yep. You nodded. You were the first one to nod when I said he could do voiceovers.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see Basil Rathbone emanate from his.
Yeah, I was surprised when I first heard his Sherlock voice.
Crazy, right?
It's amazing.
Yeah. Let's come back in the third set. We're talking with the Encore Center. Their upcoming production is October 21st through the 30th, The Hound of the Baskervilles, and we'll be back in a minute. This is All Things Moore County. Welcome back to our third and final set of All Things Moore County. The Encore Center has become known for great local productions since 2019. I don't know how they turn out so much in such a short period of time. They're very active in the community, and next weekend, October the 21st, through the weekend ending October 30th, they're producing and showing the Hound of the Baskervilles. It's a play, I think it emanated back in the 30s. The Sherlock Holmes, one of 3 or 4 series, but this one was the most popular from what I recall. And Colin, you are playing Sherlock Holmes, the Basil Rathbone character,
Right.
known from the movies. How is it adapted to get to the play from where it started as a book?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it's very interesting because when you adapt,
I'm going to buy it. Just the way
Yep,
he said
yep.
adapt. I'm going to go to the store right now and I'm going to buy some adapt.
We got that clean clip. We got that clean clip.
I'm okay.
So when you engage in adaptation, there are always hurdles that come with that. So if you're going from, say, book to screen,
Right.
usually your primary hurdle in taking something that was text and making it a more visual medium is runtime. So there's information that's got to get trimmed down a little bit. And then going from screen to stage, well, we can't exactly have people going out onto a moor and tripping over themselves and falling into mud and sinking into that. So, as entertaining as that would be. So, with that, Gus has made, that's our director, Gus, has made some just phenomenal character choices.
Right.
There are miniature story arcs happening on stage for each of these characters that blend just seamlessly with some of the text going on there. And it does not jar whatsoever, especially, I mean, I think about Charlynn, Lady Agatha, and I. There is just a nice little bookending between how we start the show versus how we end it that you wouldn't tell just by reading, but Gus has such an incredible intuition about what blends so nicely with that. And then if you're actually familiar with Hound of the Baskervilles and how that story plays out and who's behind the scheme, this show might surprise you.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
One of the great things about local theater, adapting a book, a movie like this, is getting the audience involved. And you can't run a full throttle production like the movie, and you are having to have an economy of scale, right? But you have to do it in such a way that it brings the audience in, which is the art of local theater, isn't it? Yeah. I think of the Still Magnolias production that you did, and we were talking before the show. That original production was at the Lucille Lortel Theater in the Village in New York in the 1980s, before they ever had a movie. And there were no men in the play. It was all shot in, you know this, it was all shot in the beauty salon, and all you ever knew about the men were what the women said.
Right.
Way more interesting than watching a bunch of guys jumping up on stage, right? But that's what makes it so challenging and yet so rewarding at the end of the day, isn't it? You like your role, I can tell.
Definitely a lot.
Right?
Yeah.
And you like your role, I can tell.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm having so much fun. We're we are having a blast together.
yes.
And just this journey through the characters and their different relationships with each other.
Yeah.
I mean, Gus is pretty brilliant with, we all have our very distinct relationships with the characters on stage, and not just the characters on stage, but like you said before, the characters that are just mentioned that you never see.
Yeah. She's a good teacher, isn't she?
She is.
Yeah.
She's great.
You have a nice presence.
Yeah, this is a
Thank you.
really great cast. We have 10 cast members.
Is that
and
right?
They work so well together. It's just amazing. It's just watching them all together has been just quite a joy, and just bringing it all together.
What does the Encore Center mean to you guys? What does it mean to you, Charlynn?
One of the things that when we moved, you asked me why we moved besides
Yeah.
our kids, was I wanted a different pace of life. I wanted to do things that brought me happiness and joy. I wanted my family to have more time together.
Right.
And one of my key phrases is finding my joy, which I know is maybe a little out there, but the Encore Center is part of my joy. It's a huge part of my joy.
Yeah.
And it's taking that space, and I'm loving it, and being there with meeting new people. It's hard to meet people when you're an adult. You don't have play dates, so it's hard to meet people. And this is a really great place to meet people who share the same interest and sometimes don't.
Right.
So we still are able to grow and together and learn different things. So
Yeah. Yeah. Luke, it's a place to practice your craft, isn't it?
Yeah, in a way. We actually shared some information, Charlynn and I, about her potentially, doing some recorder work with her kids in school. But
I got my penny whistle.
yeah, we need to practice penny whistle together. I recommended a penny whistle, which is significantly easier and quicker to pick up. So
Yeah. Colin,
I think
I'll buy it. I'll buy it.
I think when you look at the community as a whole,
Right.
it's a very tight knit community,
Yes.
and yet it's growing. I'm sure a lot of people here have probably even seen some of the small area plans that they're putting into motion these days.
Yeah.
And as the community continues to grow, I think it's important that we maintain such a rich culture, and that entertainment side of things is just paramount to that, to have the people who are part of the community providing the entertainment for that community. You don't just want to, as nice as those recliner seats at one of those theaters is, right? As nice as those things are, you still want to make sure that that's not all that's on offer.
Right.
Well, the Encore Center is reaching out. You have a community outreach that
do.
touches a lot of different age groups.
Yes, and we have a teen outreach ensemble who goes out into the community and performs
Yep.
songs and dances, and just promotes our shows, and just promotes all of our activities, to get people involved, and you can call and get them to come out to your event, and we don't charge anything for that. If you can make a donation to the nonprofit theater for them coming out, that's great. But we want just people to see that we're here, and that there is a place for everybody in our studio or in our theater, that we're all inclusive and want to involve the community. All of our actors this season are all from the community.
That's great.
We had auditions back in July, and everybody that's in this season that was cast is someone from the community.
Yeah. I don't know about you guys, but I am so overdosing on the news these days on TV. I'm tired of it. Getting into a local theater, getting out on a weekend, get out of yourself a little bit. This is a great opportunity. There's so much activity in Moore County from October right through the holidays, and it really is kicking off
Yes.
this month. So I would encourage people, get outside of yourself. I mean, don't look at CNN. Don't look at Fox. Go to a local show. See people in the community that you may not have seen for a while. Reconnect. Ticket prices $25.
We have started some with our students,
Right.
bringing students back into the because now they're able to do field trips again since COVID. So we do offer them schools to come at a reduced price. So we do have 2 school matinee shows for this run of our production that are completely sold out. So we're super excited to bring students back into our theater, which we've not been able to do for the last couple of years. So we're super, super excited about offering that.
And I bet as an instructor, you get to see the mothers of the kids that are being brought in connecting in a way that they may not have known each other in the past. They're connecting through the Encore Center.
It's actually funny that there are a group of parents
Right.
that have kids that have double classes. So they're coming in for a couple of classes and they hang out together. They don't.
Right.
They go when they go to Chapman's or they go down the street to the Bell Tavern. So they support our local businesses while they're able to have that social connection together. And they're from all walks of life. I mean, there's of course our military influence, and then they're just locals as well. So that's really great to see happening.
Yeah.
I really think it's important to note that Encore is part of the community and reaches out into the community to help.
That's right.
So
I wish you guys all the best of luck with the production. I do want to ask you about Christmas coming up and
Yes.
early 2023. What are some of the plans you have on the table?
Yes. So coming up next after this show, we will go right into rehearsing for Sanders Family Christmas.
She means the day after.
Pretty much.
I know she does.
Sanders Family Christmas, and that runs the first 2 weekends in December.
Right.
And then we are currently have registration for our winter production camp, which is a kids camp of Dear Edwina Jr., which that you register for that online on our website. That's for kids 8 to 18, and then those shows are the end of January. And then in February, we have our annual dinner theater production, and that is Fox on the Fairway. And then we end out our season with Sweet Delilah Swim Club in May.
Okay. The website is encorecenter.net. People can go there. They can get all the information that they need about upcoming productions, about the production of The Hound of the Baskervilles next weekend, ticket information. And if you haven't been to the Encore Center next week, the next 2 weekends would be a great time to start. It's been a pleasure having all of you on. And I hope to see you back, Becky. As far as I'm concerned, whenever the Encore Center wants to reach out, just give me a call.
Thank you. I
And
appreciate that.
Yeah. And I love the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
Good luck, guys.
thank you.
Enjoy
so
it.
much.
Break
Thank
a
you.
leg. This is All Things Moore County. Have a great week.